Maybe we're starting to get beat on our position. I'm starting to set it up, but my opponent steps over the leg and starts entering a knee cut. This is starting to be a really bad scenario for me, so I need to make sure I'm defending right away, maintaining my frames on the upper body to maintain some distance. And I'm going to use this leg either as a lasso frame or eventually pulling it into a knee shield frame. All right, when I use the lasso frame, I'm gonna be pressing away, and as they go to repummel their hand, I'm dropping my knee to the inside. In this moment here, I'm gonna be using my opposite hand to frame away this leg, keeping my knee underneath my elbow. This way I can maintain that the space stays open on this far side. If he's allowed to close this space, capturing my knee line, it's gonna be incredibly difficult for me to attack from the Keymaster position. So, opening up the knee from my knee, creating this space. I'm gonna look to extend my shoulder away, crunching my knee in nice and tight underneath with my elbow underneath, opening my leg over, and now slinging my hook in over top of the thigh. At this moment here, I'm gonna be making my grip, and again, reconnecting my arm underneath my knee. This is always incredibly important because if my opponent is ever able to drive their knee to the mat, that means they can pin my hip to the ground and drive through my guard. So I take away the ability of the knee to reach the mat by closing that space, and now I use this hand on the knee, not just as a grip to control their leg, but also to make sure it's a frame so they cannot close this space.
This reaction when the opponent is now putting the weight on my armpit, on the top arm. So we're gonna look later on what to do when they frame the bottom armpit. Right now they're framing the top armpit. So it's hard for me to pull their weight onto me. So I can have my grips and everything locked in. As soon as they frame my top armpit, I can't put their weight on top of me because they're keeping their weight back, okay? They're putting the weight on their arm and they're no longer driving with the knee, the weight's on their toes. The good thing about this is because of the way they're shifting their weight, I'm gonna be able to just knock them back over this foot, okay? But we have to make sure that we take their ability to post, because if I just have these grips and I knock them back, they can use that free hand to catch their fall and pop back up, boom. So I wanna make sure that I'm grabbing this arm, okay? So I'm grabbing right behind the tricep, I'm lifting my hip up and putting them in this position, okay? They're basically in a double pull scenario with a disadvantage because I'm up and they're down. So all I'm gonna look to do is I'm gonna look to take this foot and hook right behind the leg like we did with the technical stand-up. And now there's a couple things we can look to do. I have to connect my hip to their hip so I can grab the belt, and I'm gonna look to scoot so that we connect hip to hip. Now we're gonna look at the reaction of this leg. If this leg opens up, okay, we do one thing. If this leg anchors down, we can just go over the leg, okay? So once we've decided to go double pull, we're gonna grab the near side cuff of the pants. So I'm making a 4-finger grip on the cuff here. And now all I have to do is connect hip to hip, boom, okay? With this hook, I can now toggle their knee around. So if they decide to just bunker down with this leg, it's gonna be easy for me now to get my knee to the outside of the leg here, okay? It's easy now for me to pull my elbow underneath my hip to start lifting myself up. So I'm gonna let go of the pant, double up on the belt, and now I'm gonna grab the pant underneath my leg here. Okay, just like in the berimbolo position. So we have to make sure that over, switch my grips, start lifting my hips up, and control this leg. All right, if their hips and the shoulder. And now as I'm scooting, they open up this leg, okay? So I can't just keep my leg in here. So what I'm gonna look to do is I'm gonna look to go through, okay? So I can't go over, I go through in this space between my arm and my leg. Boom. Switch the grip, back to berimbolo.